Coming up this week on Success Won't Come Calling.
I just wish at the time we had Instagram and phones, because I swear to God, the life I had and the places that I went and the parties that I went to and the people that I met, you probably wouldn't even believe half of it. Paris Hilton was there, Hugh Hefner's 3 girlfriends, Pamela Anderson. Next thing I was like absolutely rotten drunk. I went to grab my drink off the table and I fell head first right across this table, knocked the drinks on over all of them, and the doorman has grabbed me and frog marched me, and I was going, I'm staying in the mansion.
Hello, friends. Simon Gibson here. The podcast is SWCC. Hope you're all well. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a favour and subscribe. It means a lot. It means that we can continue to build our following, and it means that it gives us more confidence to bring you more of these podcasts. I'm here today with my guest, who is Amanda Harrington. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
And thank you as well for sending me a copy of your book, which I'm a good chunk of the way through.
Did you have a read of it?
I did indeed. I loved it. But you got to tell me this. What is an influencer, a former model, and a lifestyle entrepreneur doing writing a cookbook?
Well...
you haven't got a bin round at the weekend as well, have you?
I was thinking about it after lockdown. Well, do you know what? I always cooked and I always enjoyed it, but it was just a hobby for me. Never, listen, I'm not a trained chef and I'm not trying to be one, but it's something that I just love to do, and it's a hobby. So I just started doing it and posting a few pictures on my normal Instagram, and then loads of people were starting to do the recipes, and friends of mine suggested do a cooking page, and I thought, you know what, it'll keep me busy in lockdown. So I set up another page, and then the next thing you know, I'm cooking every night, and it was just giving me something to do, because obviously no one had nothing to do. And then everyone was joining in, everyone was doing the recipes, tagging me in them, and became this nice little community. Do you know what I mean? And then January, I'd done all meals under 500 calories, so people were losing weight, and it was a good little community that I created, and I loved doing it, and it just gave me a little focus every day. And then everyone was asking me to do a cookbook, and I was like, oh God, no, I couldn't, as if, do you know what I mean? And I enjoy it, I like doing it, but I'm not no chef. But then everyone was every time I'd done a Q&A, you know, the Q&A on Instagram where you'd ask questions, and they were all saying do a cookbook. So then I thought, you know what, while I'm doing nothing and there's nothing going on, I might as well put me time to good use. So I messaged my friend who's a journalist and who's a writer, and she's an amazing businesswoman, Alyssa Corrigan. And I was like, everyone's requesting me to do this cookbook, and I think I might. I said, but I just want to do a little, just throw all my pictures off Instagram and all my messy little recipes into a little a little leaflet book. And she was like, no, not at all. She's like, if you're doing it, you're doing it properly. She said, because you'll get absolutely slaughtered. I was like, I know, but I'm not a chef, I don't want to come across like I'm trying to be this big. But she was like, if you're doing it and I'm getting involved, you're doing it properly. So she's just literally helped me every step of the way. She's been amazing. And she's also got her own business as well that she's running, which is unbelievable. She's such a good businesswoman. So she didn't really, probably hasn't got the time to do it, but she's put me in touch with all the right people. She already had all the connections. So she's just helped me I wouldn't have been able to do it without Alyssa, so I owe a lot to her. I owe her one big time. So so without Alyssa it wouldn't have happened really. So she's just guided me every step of the way, and then here we are. Well,
it's called At Home with Miss Harrington, which is also the name of your Instagram page. So we're going to put links to both on our own socials. And it says on the front cover, it says simple, sexy recipes to make you a worldie in the kitchen. Yeah. I'm loving that.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's not like a beans on toast thing though, is it?
Because a lot of girls these days, especially Liverpool girls, everyone's really into their careers now. Everyone's career focused. Everyone's, into making money. And, a lot of the girls have got a family, young kids, and, they haven't got the time to be, making loads of these big, really complicated meals. So I like creating simple, easy recipes because I don't like ready meals. I've never been one for ready meals. And as I've said in the book, if I haven't got time to cook from scratch, I will eat out or I'll get a takeaway. I don't like ready meals. So I've always cooked from scratch, but it doesn't have to be complicated and it doesn't have to be hard. And it's, you know, you can eat healthily as well if you've got like there's a say I've done a spice checklist in my book and I've done a utensil list. So you know, for people who are just a bit scared of being in the kitchen and starting out, it's really not that hard. And once you start, it becomes a bit of you can become addictive because it's amazing when you're cooking nice and you know what you're eating as well. You know what calories you're putting in it. You know, it's just such a better way, and you can knock up a really healthy, tasty meal for your family in 10 minutes if you've got the ingredients. And once you've got the majority, the basics, you've got it all in. So it's just a case of deciding whether you're having chicken or fish or, you know, what meat you're having. Do you know what I mean? If you've got all your spices in.
I mean, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it is quite. I mean, when I think of a cookbook,
you cooked anything yet out of it?
No, you know,
you can have a go.
I don't want to sort of invite pressure on myself by sort of attempting any cooking because I'm a bit scared that that's going to lead to raising of expectation at home, which would be a disaster.
That'll be it then. Penny on every night.
Yeah. But I'm enjoying it because it's not a heavy sort of just list of ingredients on every page. This
is what I mean. Yeah. When I have got a lot of cookbooks, and when I see a recipe that's got no picture, I will not do it. Like I will not do it because I think I want to see what I'm cooking and I want to see the end result. So, and I think a lot of people think that as well. I go off the picture as well. If it looks nice to me, then I'll give it a go. But if it's got a crazy list of ingredients, I just think no. So that in my book, I've made sure that most of them are just like dead simple, short, quick recipes that you don't need like the whole of the spice aisle in Asda for. Do you know what I mean? That once you've got them basics in, it's, as I said, it's just a case of deciding what you're going to cook. Because I've just collected all my spices now. And then as I've gone along, I've got more utensils. And I feel like sometimes I've literally only got to go to the shop and buy like some chicken mini fillets, you know, chicken mini fillets or some sea bass or something like that because I've got everything else in.
Yeah.
So it's not like a massive expense either to cook from scratch because people think, oh, I've got to buy all these ingredients, but it's really not. It's a matter of planning.
It is. Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing with good cooking and healthy eating, isn't it? But the book is called At Home with Miss Harrington. We're close to Christmas, guys. If you're looking to get something which is a little bit off the beaten track for, you know, a spouse or a family member who likes cooking, I would definitely recommend checking it out. And we're going to have it on our socials, and it's out right now. Now, I remember the first time I think I ever sort of noticed you, Amanda, was. I think it was probably more than 10 years ago now when I think of it. It was like one of the very early reality TV shows. It was called Glamour Girls.
Yeah.
And if I'm remembering this correctly, it was like a behind the scenes at a model agency. Is that right?
Well, it was a documentary about my modelling agency at the time, Samantha Bonds, and it was a really big modelling agency in that time. And you know, there wasn't Instagram or Twitter or any social media. We didn't even have phones then. So all like the glamour models and all the models were all in Samantha Bond, and everyone was in like the lads mags and the Daily Star, all the newspapers. That's how everyone was seen, and everyone was in her agency. So they'd done a documentary, I think it was on BBC Three or BBC One, I can't remember, but it was like following the models in her agency and just an insight to their lives and stuff. And then they ended up coming to America with me at the time. And
we're going to go to America in terms of that experience shortly, but that's 2007. How long had you been a model by that point?
I'd probably I only really started when I was about 24. I had my daughter when I was 19 and I didn't really I was with my daughter's dad and all that, so I just didn't really do that type of thing. And then when we split up, I just started doing it. And then I think within a year, I was with Samantha Bond. Probably a year, yeah. And
what's the life of a model like then in terms of the way you have to work, and what's the industry like?
At the time, I was just up and coming, so there was loads of models that were already out there. But it was just, I just remember it being really exciting. But I also look back and think, wow, I really took a lot for granted as well, because I was just like flying all over the world. I was in LA by the minute. I got myself an agent in there, but that was actually on the show. I got me an agent in Miami. And then I had to stay in Miami for a few months while I was doing all castings and shoots and this, that and the other. And I went to Playboy Mansion and all that in LA. And I look back and think, wow, I was that busy and that much on a whirlwind. You don't really step back and think, and now I'm older and now like I don't do all that. I look back and think, wow, I had a great time. Do you know what I mean? It was amazing, the things that I'd done and where I went. I look back and it was really like, amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Well, you've got us drinking. We always drink what the guest wants on the podcast, and you've got us drinking a rhubarb gin and tonic. Was this something that on those nights in LA you would partake in?
No, God, I can't even remember what I drank then. But I've only just started drinking gin because I've drank wine for that many years, and I wondered why my hangovers were horrendous the next day. And it took me till this age to realise it was the wine. The wine's the devil. So I stopped drinking wine in January, and now I have gin. So I have, I just have any type of gin with slimline tonic. Reason being, the calories are a lot lower.
Yeah.
The hangovers are half as bad, and I actually get stuff done the next day.
Yeah.
And I remember things. Was when I was on the wine. Wow, the blackouts the next day, and I'd be like, oh, what
do you know what?
said?
I can't handle hangovers now.
I can't.
You know, when you got
It's too old
kids.
for them.
When you got kids, I think your days change. I mean, it's not just the fact they get you up the crack of dawn. I mean, mine are 10 and 8 now.
Can I grab mine as well?
Yeah, of course you can. Hey, cheers, by the way. Thanks so much for coming on. Yeah, I get to the point now where if I've got a night out in like 4 weeks, I'm almost bloody dreading it because I'm thinking to myself, right, I've got to have
a 3-day hangover. This is the thing.
Or it's like a military style operation to
Yeah.
stop yourself getting hungover. Like, right, I've got to eat at that
And
point
I've got
in the
to
night.
drink water in between my drinks. It's like, years ago, I wouldn't care if I had a hangover, and my hangovers are terrible, but now I am really mindful of like when I'm drinking. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that I cannot deal with the hangover these days, because it's not just the next day. It's like, it's 3-day hangover with me.
Yeah.
And then it's the eating crap as well.
It is.
Like, I want a Mackey's the next day, and then I want a Chinese, then I want an Indian, all in one day,
Yeah.
and then a load of chocolate, and then I put 4 stone on just by going out drinking for one night.
Listen, if there's anyone young watching this thinking, look at these oldies here, it's coming. I guarantee you, this is coming.
Yeah, comes to everyone.
And so then you mentioned there that obviously you had these great experiences in the US. You mentioned the Playboy. Is it the Playboy Mansion? Is it?
Yeah.
So did you meet Hugh Hefner?
Yeah.
And what was he like then?
He was lovely.
Was
he? People don't really understand. It's a professional job. Like when Playboy magazine was going, because it's finished now, they done a magazine, one each month. So then they had a Playmate of the month for every month of the year. So every month they'd like get about 5-6 girls from all over the world, and they'd go and test for Playboy. And then I don't know, it might have been 5, might have been 10, but they tested girls every month for Playboy. So you'd do the shoot fully naked. And then they would pick one girl, and then every month they'd have the Playmate, and at the end of the year they'd pick Playmate of the year, and they'd have the 12 girls there, and it was like a big ceremony. It was a professional job. But obviously this is how you know the story. I told you that on the phone, didn't I?
Well, tell me again, and everyone else will want to know it as well. Because everyone
you need
watching
to ask me the question.
I was going to say there'll be people watching this who weren't listening into that call.
Yeah.
So let's do it again.
Ask me again.
What happened at the Playboy Mansion?
No, ask it again. How did they end up there?
Oh yeah, go on.
Do you want me to do your job? So what happened was, I was with Samantha Bond, and I was doing the Nuts and the Zoo and the Maxim and all that. But I was never ever doing topless. I refused to do it. I just used to do like underwear, bikini, implied, hair over the boobs, all that. And then Nuts and Zoo done this big, I won these competitions in them, and then they done this big poll in the Daily Star, like, should Amanda go topless? And it was like 99% of people said yeah, and I was just like no, and they done an interview with me, and I was like, I'm never going topless. I've got a daughter. It's not happening. So like, I don't mind doing underwear and bikini, but I'm not getting my tits out.
Sure. Yeah.
So next thing you know, I said the only way I would do it is if I'd done Playboy. So the next thing I got the call for English Playboy, and I was like, oh yeah, so this is my agent now going, yeah, English Playboy, I've been on the phone and they want you to do it. And I was like, how much? They're like, 270 quid. So I went, what? no, I'm not getting my kiss off for 200. Oh no, but they don't pay you. They just pay your expenses for the day. And I said, not a chance, I'm not doing that. So I said, what? I'll do American Playboy. Next thing you know, I'm on the plane to LA. There was no conversation, not if I got the job, if I didn't get the job. I just knew I was going for a week. I was going to the Midsummer Night's Dream party, and I was testing for Playboy. So I ended up I was on a couple of episodes of it actually, because I lost my suitcase when I got off the plane. I'd got a big outfit made for this party, this Arabian Nights party. I'd spent a fortune on all my clothes to go, and my case never come off the plane, and I never got it back until I got back to the airport on the way home. So I had to borrow Hugh Hefner's, Holly, his girlfriend at the time. I had to borrow her shoes, and she was a size 5 and I was a size 6. I was crippled walking around the party, and everyone was walking around with all these amazing outfits, and I had to go and buy some little crappy set from some shop. But anyway, so I tested for Playboy and I got the job, and I was going to take it, and then I was told that the job entails that you have to live in LA for 2 years, and you have to live in the bunny house across the street, and you can only work for Playboy. They put you on like a monthly wage, and you can only you got to be in the house for 9 p.m. Like you've got to go up by all their rules and stuff. But that wasn't really the issue. The issue was I couldn't live there for 2 years because I had my little girl at the time. I had a baby, so I had to turn the job down. And when I come home, I mean, I don't know whether this was my agent or who had something to do with it, but when I've got off the plane, it's all over because we didn't have phones, you remember? So there was no communication with people. So I've got off the plane, and it's all over the front page of the thing saying the Daily Star, Amanda returned from LA because Hugh Hefner couldn't pay her enough money. I was thinking, that actually sounds quite good, but that weren't really the case. The real story was I had a daughter, and I couldn't live in LA for 2 years, but I mean, it sounded good at the time that he couldn't pay me enough, but I think you got $25,000 for your shoot. I just thought you got the money, done your shoot, and come home. Yeah. That was what I had in my mind. I was like, yeah, happy days, because 25 grand back then, it was a lot of money, but that wasn't the case. So the pictures never got released, and I never ended up doing it. But I mean, I had a column in the Echo at the time, and it all got documented. I mean, I was there and doing my column and writing all about it. It was an amazing experience.
And was that the point then that you started to consider whether in the long term a modelling career was for you?
Well, I knew it weren't going to last forever because, everyone's got a sell-by date, haven't you? And, as long as you can look after yourself to a certain point and whatever else, but, we all get older, and then, I don't know, your career path changes. Like I knew I wouldn't be doing that forever, but while I did it, it was great, and I don't really regret a second of it.
So you've got good recollections that period?
Yeah, I've got great memories. I travelled the world. I met amazing people, and I loved it. I've got amazing memories. I just wish that at the time we had Instagram and phones, because I swear to God, the life I had, you wouldn't even and the places that I went and the parties that I went to and the people that I met, you probably wouldn't even believe half of it. But I couldn't, and you couldn't even document it because we didn't have phones and we didn't have social media because it was so long ago. Do you know what I mean?
It's a game changer, isn't it? Because you think to yourself, now, this is me with Hugh Hefner on Instagram.
Yeah, but we didn't even, you researched, you weren't even allowed phones, but I snuck the camera in and got caught with my camera.
Oh my
Proper
God.
Scouser. Got caught with my camera and got it took off me. I was like, oh no.
The next thing I remember you in was Desperate's Gauss Wives.
Yeah.
Now, I know that sort of got a bit of a mixed reception. And obviously, do you want to just tell us first what that entailed, that programme, and then we'll go on to what the what sort of the reception was for you and for the programme generally?
I got the call on my 30th birthday, and I was like at that stage, I thought, right, I'm 30 now. Do I really want to do modelling anymore? I was looking on a change of career. I wanted to focus on something else. And then they called me and they were like, your name's been through in the hat 1,000,000 times. You want to meet you? And I was like, oh, I don't know whether I want to do it. Anyway, I met them and all that. And then they were like, right, who do you know? We want to sort of, not base it around me, but they wanted to involve people around me so they could create stories and stuff. So I made a few phone calls, got a few people involved in it. Next thing you know, they sold us the dream, really. Yeah. But at the time, Towie had come out and everyone was doing amazing. Everyone had really amazing businesses off the back of it. everyone was making money. It was really, you know, it was all positive. So at the end of the day, I was just a single mum, living alone, and I just took an opportunity to better my life, which I think a lot of people would. Obviously, Liverpool absolutely hated it. We got absolutely slaughtered. I got probably slaughtered the most. I honestly, you should see my block list on Twitter. It's unbelievable.
Well, I was good.
Shit that I got.
I was going to let me come to that, but I mean, first of all, you've just made the point about you were presented with a career opportunity which you decided to take, and that's what we all have to do as we go through life.
And everyone was like slagging off the title about being not one of us were desperate at all. The reason they called it that is because it was on E4.
That's right.
And also on E4 at the time was Desperate Housewives in America. So they just basically done a spin-off of the name of that show because it was on the same channel. And Desperate Housewives, Desperate Gauss Wives, no one was desperate and no one was a wife. It was just a little quirky name, and everyone was like, "Oh, desperate," and it's like, "Fuck off," do you know what I mean? But
I mean, you're not gonna. I don't.
Am I allowed to swear, by the way? Well, I swore about 3 times.
Don't worry, you can say
Bleep,
what you want.
Bleep.
You can say what you want. That's absolutely fine. But I think, we're going to return to this issue of sort of people being abused online and whatnot for just what they do.
Yeah.
Which I think is a huge problem, which I want to come back to. But so between doing Desperate Scouse Wives and then obviously you forming your business ZeroFat, because I want to really spend some quality time on that because I'm so impressed by what you've been able to build and the success you've had, Amanda. Was there a period then when you were sort of working out what the future was going to hold, what your journey was?
No, because when we done series 1, and they were like, so obviously it was a bit scripted as well. They give everyone these sort of characters, and my character was like Queen Bee. I'm a bitch and I don't get on with anyone, which is completely wrong because everyone I meet I get on with, and you know, they wanted me like arguing with Jaden, they wanted me arguing with Layla. I remember one time they like made me walk past a coat hanger and like snarl at it, and that was about 5 takes, and I was like, who is this going to be? Because we only seen the show when everyone else seen the show. And then they were like, just do the Amanda snarl. And I was like, oh my God, like, I don't even do this in real life. Why have I got to do? Anyway, they were like, look, just play up to the character and you can be yourself in series 2. Oh, series 2 never came.
No.
So I was just this bitch who was arguing with everyone. Bear in mind, me and Jaden like love each other in real life. And, you know, me and Layla have never had a problem with each other. So it was just they created it. I get it for TV purposes, but we're actually real people. And them episodes leave an opinion in people's mouths. So everyone's opinion of me was just a bitch. And a lot of people didn't like me because of the way that they portrayed me on the show. And then I've spent my life in the toilets speaking to girls who go, actually, after 5 minutes to meet me, oh, do you know what? I'm sorry, like, I really got the wrong end of the stick with you. I really got it wrong. And I just spent my life explaining, and then now I've just got to the point where I thought, you know what? I can't spend my life explaining to people that I'm actually a really nice person. I've got a massive heart. I do anything for anyone, but I'm not doing it no more. If you don't like me, I'm not interested, do you know what I mean? And if you do, great. But the majority who I meet really do. And I get apologies because they got their opinion of me off that show. So it left a sour taste in people's mouths, and it wasn't really fair on the characters because they promised series 2. So I thought, right, I'll be the bitch in this series. And then series 2, they can see the real me. But then series 2 never happened. So. And
what was the reason for that? Was it just because the viewing figures weren't what they wanted, or something like that?
Basically, Mal Young was the producer in Brookside. Oh, and he was only ever used to doing scripted. So when it come to reality and us doing our own thing, because we all had our own stories, you know, everyone had their own good stories, but when you put on a gang of people together who aren't trained actors and actresses, and you're trying to say to them, right, you pretend that you're in a relationship, or you pretend that you're in love with each other, we wasn't trained. So to be put in them situations and asked to pretend when you're not trained, it does come across on screen. So everyone's like, oh my God, it's so false. Like, and it must have been, but I'll tell you the truth, because I was in it and I lived it. Liverpool didn't like it. When we went out of town, oh my God, it was like we were like film stars in America. It was crazy. We were getting chased by like 50 paps everywhere we went. We were getting security everywhere we went. Everyone absolutely loved it out of town. It was only our own city that didn't support it.
Which is disappointing, really, isn't it?
Well, it is, but half of the people who slagged it off were the ones queuing up to get on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And we're gonna return to this issue of perception, and how you sometimes still get bothered by that sort of thing in terms of online treatment and that sort of thing. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But when did you first decide that you wanted to move into business?
Well, I always had a business head on me because obviously I was a single mum, and I always needed to keep a roof over my own head. And I like nice things. I like nice shoes. I like nice handbags. I like nice cars. I like nice things. You know, I like nice holidays. I like it all. So I've always had businesses, even when we were on Gauss Wives. As soon as we didn't get series 2, we cashed in by bringing our own Ranger dresses out. But then I was doing dead well because I was going to London every weekend and doing personal appearances. But I've been in that industry for years, so I knew the game and I knew how it worked. So I was going to London and doing, some of the girls were just doing like 1 PA over the weekend and charging like a few £100. And I was like, no, I want £1,000, and if I'm coming to your club and I'm going to spend 3 hours there, get drunk with my mates, and I'm going on to my next PA. So I'd go home with a right few quid every weekend, but I had bills to pay. I'm not saying I was more switched on, but most of them just lived at home with their mums and dads. I had my own house. I had to earn money and pay bills and stuff. So I was earning money that way. And then I started doing all the shoots for the magazines then as well. And they started all showing an interest. And then I was booked in for all kinds of magazine shoots. And then the rug got pulled because we didn't get series 2. So then we brought our clothes range out. And then it's just been like, I've been influencer stuff since then as well. I do like the influencer stuff where I get paid to post and stuff. And then the business.
I was just going to say, I was interested in what you said there about being a young single mum and how that sort of compelled you to think entrepreneurially, to think in terms of look, I have certain spending requirements here. I don't want to compromise those, but that means that I've got to find a way of generating cash. Do you attribute being a young single mum to that positively?
What do you mean?
Well, do you think the fact that you were a young mum, that gave you that that gave you that drive?
No. What gave me the drive is that when I was younger, my mum was a single mum and my dad weren't around, and we didn't have no money, and I wanted things and I couldn't really have them because my mum didn't have the money for it. So that made me that, like, I'm not saying we were absolutely like, we weren't really poor, but there was no money around, and I just remember thinking, I'm not living like this. Like I want a nice life. So that I think it gives a lot of people in that position who have grew up with nothing. And obviously I didn't have a dad around to like support as well. My mum was working all the time. She's done her best, God love her. But, 2 parents is better than 1. And he wasn't ever around, never contributed or not. And so it was a struggle for my mum, and I seen it. And I remember growing up thinking, I'm not living like this. And then I ended up being a single mum. And I just thought, no, I'm not gonna struggle like my mum did. Do you know what I mean? So I was always pushing to, as I say, when the opportunity for Gauss Wives come along, people can say whatever they want about me, but I took an opportunity to better my life and make money, to give myself and my daughter a better life, because I weren't getting it up from nowhere else.
Well, that's the thing as well, isn't it? And sometimes things go exactly according to plan, and sometimes they don't, and you learn from them.
I left school without 1 GCSE, mate. I was good in school, but then I got to that last year and we started going out and getting drunk and not giving a shit. And I didn't get 1 qualification from school, and I only had my looks really to get me by. So I started doing the modelling and all that, but then obviously modelling's good if you get a good job, but it's not a steady income every single month, you know what I mean? So
and like you say as well, it's probably, you're mindful of the fact that it's probably not going to go on forever as well.
Yeah, and then 1 month you could get thousands, and then the next one you might get nothing because you haven't had a job. So you can't really go, oh, I've just made £5,000, I'm going to go and blow that, because you mightn't get nothing the next month. So
Yeah.
you've got to be careful about how you manage your money and stuff. But listen, Gauss Wives was a great opportunity I found for me. It didn't do me no harm. And I don't regret any of it. I've made amazing memories, and I made some really lifelong friends as well. So for me, it didn't do me.
It's a positive experience.
It's a positive experience for me.
And one that you've learned from.
We had an absolute ball, to be honest with you. It was one of the best times of our lives. We were getting paid to go and party in London every week, getting invited everywhere, and made gorgeous clothes. It was just, what girl wouldn't want to do that?
Totally.
Exactly.
Let's talk about your business. Your business is called ZeroFat.
Yeah.
And I think I understand what it's all about, but I want you to tell everyone where the idea came from and how you set it up and what your business does and what your journey's been up to now.
It's an infrared light therapy machine. So you pedal under it. You pedal on it for 45 minutes and you burn up to 800 calories in that 45 minutes because you sweat so much. And it's really good. It's not just a workout. It's also really good it's got really a lot of skin benefits. So it's really good for like acne, psoriasis, eczema, brain fog. So when you do hot yoga, you come out of hot yoga and you just feel dead energized and focused and your brain fog's gone. That's what ZeroFat does as well. And it also, you're in your own private room. So a lot of women are intimidated to go to the gym. So they like to go on that because they can burn the calories in a private room. So a lot of women do the gym. Maybe they do a PT a couple of times a week, but then they do a few ZeroFat sessions, that type of thing. But it's the only one of it in this country because I am the UK distributor now. So I actually sell the machines as well. And
was the idea and your decision to move into this area of business
I didn't invent the machine.
Sure.
The machine is out there in other countries, but it's under a different name. So the manufacturers rebranded it and changed the colour and everything so it's a different brand.
I've got you.
So I called it ZeroFat. And then it's been rebranded in colour-wise and stuff. So it's not the same.
I've got you. And
it's big in 2 other countries. But the UK they haven't caught on to infrared light therapy yet. There's a few infrared saunas in London and stuff, but it is going to be a really big thing eventually. So I've got my machine has been in Harvey Nichols now for, I think it's coming up to 5 years, maybe 4 to 5 years.
And how did you manage to get that contract with Harvey Nichols? Because I'm sure there's so many brands out there who are just salivating at the prospect of putting their products into a store like Harvey Nichols. How did you pull that off?
Very lucky. To be honest, it was an unknown brand, obviously, and I needed to do a PR campaign to get it out there, and I knew it'd do well because there's nothing like it, and no one in the UK has seen anything like it. So I knew, and I know everyone in the industry, so I knew I could get the people on it, just calling a favour. So I just actually messaged. Actually, I don't want to give my secret away because everyone will start doing it. No, I messaged the PR girls who were working for Beauty Bazaar at the time, and I just said, "Listen, I've got this amazing machine concept. Would I be able to put it in your spa for a month, 2 months? I'll get a load of celebrities and influencers in there. Obviously, I'll get them to promote Beauty Bazaar and my machine, and then I'll take it out there. I just want to do a PR campaign, and I need somewhere fabulous to put it. And where else is more fabulous than Beauty Bazaar?" So I had a million meetings because it's not easy to get an Harvey Nichols. I had a million meetings with the managers, the spa managers. I had to go through a long process, and then they agreed, and then here we are 5 years later. And you know what? I couldn't have asked for a better place. The people, the managers, the girls who work there, honestly, it's just the nicest place. They're so nice. They're so supportive, and I don't know. It's just a great. It's like a family in there. Everyone's just amazing.
And it's a prestige brand, isn't it? So it's a great.
People have chopped their arm off to be in Harvey Nichols.
Definitely. Well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, you mentioned there having a million meetings. I mean, it's that sort.
They've got to be so particular because they're not, they're one of the biggest brands in the world, and it's really not easy to get into that shop. People have been a brand for 50 years and can't get in there, but it's I'm very fortunate and very blessed to be in there. And as I say, I couldn't wish for it to be in a better. I mean, you can't get a better place for it to be in.
No, I don't think
I've got one going to Cheshire in the next few weeks, and then I've just sold some to Ireland, so it's opening up in Ireland as well.
Fantastic. Well, I was going to ask you.
I'm turning more towards the sales side of it now.
So I was going to ask you about the plan for the future then. I mean, would scaling it internationally be something which interested you?
No, because I've only got the contract for distribution in the UK, but I am looking to. I want to open ZeroFat Dubai, and it was actually on the tip of it before COVID. So someone got in touch with me, a doctor from Paris, who also has these two really, really successful clinics, one in Jeddah and one in Dubai. So they were buying two off me. Sorry, they were buying one. They wanted two, and I said, right, you can buy one, but let me put one of mine there because I want my business in Dubai, and I want to see how it works, see how successful it is, and then hopefully open the ZeroFat studio there. That's my plans because a lot of my clients are Arab ladies, because obviously they can't go to the gyms and take the religion with the burqa and stuff. They can't take it off, so they like to go on ZeroFat because they can work out in their own private room. So that's why I feel like it'd do really well in Dubai. So I could have let them buy two, but then I was like, no, I want to let me put mine and use just take percentage type of thing, and then you can buy one for Jeddah, because I didn't want one in Jeddah. I've got no intention of being in Jeddah, but Dubai for me, I thought, yeah. So it was all contracts got signed and everything, and then COVID happened, and then the actual spas were unbelievable. You've never seen spa, because it's Dubai, isn't it? Obviously everything's amazing. So you've never seen spas like it. And I thought, this is exactly what, in my mind, rather than me go over there with the unknown and then trying to get it in somewhere, this was just perfect, what I wanted. Test the water. A friend of mine lives there, Chris Wright. He was going to help me with the launch of it because he's already over there. We had it all planned. And then the investors pulled out and the clinics never opened. Oh, no. So sort of back to square one with that one, but
you've still got the passion to do that if you can.
Yeah, that's my intention. Eventually, I think it'd absolutely smash it in Dubai. So that's where I'm going to take it. Yeah.
And I looked on the website, and if is it just women, or is it? No, it's just women and men.
Yeah, but it is women and men, but it is mostly women who go on it. But I don't know whether that's because the one I've got now is just in like Beauty Bazaar.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's more of a beauty place, but I have had loads of men go on it.
So if someone's interested, because I mean, it strikes me that it's a great alternative in the fitness portfolio, ways people can stay in shape. Some people don't like gyms, they don't like running on the street and this sort of thing. Yeah. So
some people just like the privacy of it, don't they?
I can totally get that. So and they just go on the website and book a session, do they?
Well, go on the Instagram. There's a link on the Instagram, or you can book through, or you can email us through the website, whatever. But you can actually book yourself through the through the Instagram.
So we're going to put this on our links as well, guys. It does sound really interesting to me, and I mean the facts speak for themselves, don't they? 800 calories in 45 minutes is that?
But don't get me wrong, you can't just go on it and sit there. You've got to put the graft in. Like you know, it depends how hard you want to work, but it is possible to burn up to 800 calories
because you've got that extra. Is that getting your heart rate up more? Is it?
It's because you're pedaling, but you also want infrared light. But you've also got a tablet as well, so you can watch like whatever you want, any program you want, listen to music. So the time sort of flies. It's not like you're just pedaling and staring at the ceiling. So you have your headphones on, and before you know it,
sounds really interesting.
You've done your 45 minutes, but obviously. You sweat like mad, so that's where you're burning all them calories because of the sweat.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see it. So check that out, guys. It sounds like a good alternative if someone's not particularly interested in going to the gym.
Some woman just comes and goes on it because sits under the light because she likes what it does to her skin.
And what I was going to say, you've got those skin benefits as well. And you sort of you're killing two birds with one stone in terms of it.
A lot of people with psoriasis and eczema come on it because it helps with their skin condition. And acne as well.
So you've
cellulite as well. I forgot to mention the main one, cellulite. It helps with cellulite.
So if we moved forward 5 years, or if we met again in 5 years, would you still have this as your main area of business, or are there other areas that you're interested in moving into?
This has been my little baby now for about 4 or 5 years. But I do feel like I do want to expand it, but maybe not in the UK. I feel like I want to, as I said, I want to branch out now and go to like Dubai, or Dubai is just, that's where it's in my mind to open up there. So that's probably the next plan with that. I will still be doing it. And obviously I might just concentrate on selling them in the UK, because I can only sell in the UK, you say, because I'm the UK distributor. So I can actually only sell the machines in the UK. I can't sell today. Sorry, I can do Ireland, but I can't do international. But if it takes off in Dubai, then I might end up with the international, with the Dubai contract. But it's not like a case of, can I have that contract? You've got to sell some machines to prove that you're worthy of doing it.
I can imagine.
They'll give you the contract.
So you mentioned earlier on that offline, when you did Desperate Housewives and that sort of thing, you sometimes had to deal with negativity and sort of, I'll call it abuse that you got in the city particularly. Yeah. But I know that digitally through Instagram and that sort of thing, that's something which has continued to crop up from time to time. I wondered how bad it's got and sort of how you've dealt with it.
Well, these days it's not as bad at all. But when you are on a TV show that's on like a mainstream channel like E4, then all of a sudden you are exposed to like millions of people overnight, and all these people have got an opinion, and a lot of them are amazing and lovely, but a lot of them aren't. But you don't take notice of the lovely ones, but you take notice of the bad ones. And they used to be really bad when obviously we were all on the telly and stuff and in the public eye and here, there and everywhere. But as I've got older and I'm out the limelight, I don't really get it as much, because you're not in people's faces. But then I still get them. I've still got one who just constantly, like, every time I'm doing something nice, every time I'm on holiday, when it's my birthday, like we were on a boat on my birthday with my friends having a lovely day, and then they set up fake accounts and start messaging me, start messaging my friends, start messaging my boyfriend. Like, it's just crazy, and they try and ruin the day. But then, like, obviously, at the end of the day, we're all human, and things that people say, there's someone out to try and like destroy anything that I've got, basically. So they've not just messaged me, they've messaged like me boyfriend's brother in Australia, but absolutely talking crap, not a bit of proof or evidence to whatever they say. Like, they message me about my boyfriends as well, and they're like, so say I take a selfie in the mirror with that hand and my engagement ring's on that hand. They're, oh, I see you haven't got your ring on today, Amanda. Is it true you're a split? And I'm like, oh my, like, have I got to be permanently like this? Do you know what I mean? Like, or lockdown. All I done was clean and cook. I didn't wear my ring walking around the house. If I take a picture, instantly they're all over it. They're like, oh, I see you haven't got your ring on today. Have you split? Like, obsessed. Like, don't want me to have a relationship. Try and ruin my relationship. But the messaging, they even went to the lengths of messaging the groom at the wedding we were at in Spain. They messaged the groom, and obviously the groom had to tell us about these messages on his wedding day. And it was just like, and I kept saying, right, one more, because I've got an idea of it is, because it's always about the same thing. And obviously but you can't go accusing, can you, unless you've got the proof. And they get away with murder these days because they can, because no one knows who they are. But that won't happen forever. So I kept saying, right, one more time, and like, that's it. Like, I'm doing something about it. And obviously the police don't do nothing. Unless you've had death threats and people know where you live, or you've lost a limb, they won't do nothing. But they're not bothered about your mental health and how it's affecting your life, your relationships. I'm a very headstrong person. Like, nothing can be said to me that hasn't already been said. Like, it's water off a duck's back to me. But a lot of people aren't as strong as me. And, it's people have took their own lives over it. So, I mean, what do these people what do they want to gain
Well,
from it? Like, are they going to be happy when someone's died and took their own life because of the constant bullying and criticising of their appearance? Like, it's just, I could never in a million years dream of messaging someone and saying, if I didn't agree with something, I didn't like the way they look. Like, if you don't, move on and keep it to yourself. Why do you feel the need? You want to ruin that person's day? Someone wants to ruin every happy occasion that I have, and I just ignore it. But they must sit there and be like, oh, she's having a good time, I'm going to try and ruin this. And that's what they try and do. But it doesn't work. But they try. And it's like, are you that sick and twisted and bitter where you can't bear to see me just have a nice life and have a good time? Do you know what I mean?
And I mean,
it's sad. It's
have
very,
you
sad.
have you ever have to give thought to just saying, right, I'm not going to read the messages anymore, I'm going to get someone else to look at them?
You can't help but read it when it's like you can't help it when they've sent you a message, because obviously you check your messages. But I don't reply. Obviously, I don't reply. And I used to say all the time, I kept saying, right, one more, if they do this again, because once they message his brothers and that in Australia, I was thinking, oh, this is going a bit far now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I kept saying one more, and then they done it again. So I contacted a solicitor in London who like deals with this type of thing, and they wanted 10 grand to get a private investigator, and I was like that close of doing it, because then they get the IP addresses and we'd really find out who it was, and I would name and shame, I don't care, because that person's okay trying to ruin your life, but then you don't ruin theirs.
You've got to have accountability at the end of the day.
I'd like people to find out who they are, the people who they work with, the families and the friends, and so they know what type of person, like that they're actually friends with a troll. Imagine being a troll.
Well, this is the key point, isn't it? That what is
the secret trolls? You don't sit there with the mates and go, oh, by the way, I'm a troll. I give him loads. I try and ruin their lives because everyone would be like, all right, I don't want to be associated with it. If any of my mates' friends told me that they were a troll and they abused people online, I wouldn't have nothing to do with them.
Well, and that's the thing, that anonymity that they're allowed.
But it won't be forever.
No, it won't. And if we could introduce a system whereby you were accountable for your social media content through verified identity, I bet that the amount of trolling would reduce.
Do you know all it takes? So, Instagram, Facebook and all, it's all owned by the same company now. It's probably just some little techie lads in the offices who'd have to put a little button on their website just to say that if you sign up to any social media, you need to have a passport, your address, a driver's license, and have ID like you do with a bank account. Anything dead serious like that, you have to have, and it'd take probably 5 minutes to just do that. But they're not doing it. Why not? That's the
$1 million question.
I don't get why they're doing it. They're not going to lose any money by getting rid of trolls, are they? I just don't get it, because they see what goes on and the amount of mental health damage that it does to everyone. The people who've took their own lives over it. Why aren't they doing anything about it? It baffles me.
Well, I'd love to get someone from Twitter or Facebook on the show to talk about this.
I'd love to see what they said.
Yeah, because I'd be interested.
Why can't you just do that and just save everyone like a massive amount of... The world will change overnight. Because there was an Instagram a few months ago, I don't know whether you've seen it. I think that's why I got contacted actually by Sophie. Is it Sophie?
Stacey. Yeah.
Because there was a Instagram called The Detectives, and they were finding out who the trolls were, and they were on that scummy website, and they got loads of confessions of people saying that they deleted all their accounts and all stuff like that, and they were actually getting somewhere. But all the trolls, I think, reported it, and they got taken down. But I sent them all my stuff, and they were working on it for me. So they're probably still gonna... I'm probably going to hear from them soon. They said they were working on it.
Well, I hope they do, because there's like you say, you've done nothing other than drive your career forward positively, and to have these idiots who are trying to clip your wings just doesn't.
Everyone who does anything, who tries to best themselves, they always get abused. It's just the way, it's part and parcel of it, really. But
it is.
It's not nice.
Right, let's think about wrapping up, because it's been absolutely wonderful having your company. Let's remind everyone that your book, which is called At Home with Miss Harrington, which is also the name of your Facebook page.
Instagram.
Sorry, the Instagram page. We're good. I'm really enjoying reading it so far. We're going to put the links to that on our website. We've also, of course, got ZeroFat, and we've gone through today how everyone can access that really interesting and innovative weight loss and lifestyle service. And the final thing, I guess, is you work as an influencer. For someone who doesn't know much about that, what is an influencer, and how does that all work?
It's where you wear clothes like this. Or
so who was it who gave you that?
This is Glamify today. So yeah, you wear clothes and promote it, and then you get the clothes, they get the business, and that's how it works.
Superb. It's nice work if you can get it.
It's an easy job, but actually it's not easy because you've got to get your hair done, you've got to get your makeup done, you've got to make sure your content's decent for people to buy it. But yeah, I like that. I like that side of things. That's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, listen, it's been such a joy having your company, Amanda. Thank you so much for coming on. And listen, congratulations for everything you're doing with your book, with your business, and also for staying strong and staying positive in the event that not everything goes straight forward and not everybody gives you good feedback.
Yeah.
So
thank you. Thanks
for coming on SWCC. It's been great having you here. I know everyone will have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So thank you to Amanda Harrington.